Welcome in to episode number 109 of About the Cards podcast, live tonight on YouTube. As always, with me, host Stefan Loeffler at Junk Wax Twins.
Oh, hi.
Ben Wilson at our trading cards, and I'm Tim Shepler, Big Shep 79. We are podcast by collectors for collectors, hoping to bring you a smart, insightful podcast discussing trading card collecting. We're live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific.
10 Central.
On YouTube, Periscope, Facebook Live. Also on Twitter about the cards. Available as a podcast pretty much everywhere. Check out the website, aboutthecards.wordpress.com. We have a very special guest tonight, Andrew from Bayside Breakers. What's up, Andrew? Thanks for coming in and hanging out this night. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me here.
Well, outstanding. You have to explain the jersey that you're wearing to most of our fans here, because I'm not sure they know what that is.
For most of you non-European fans, this is the Sheffield United, the Blades. We are a team that just was promoted to the Premier League this past season, projected to finish dead last. The season just wrapped up Sunday, and we finished 9th. So you will be seeing us again in the league next year. And so this is one of the few times I've actually been able to proudly wear this jersey, because we've been down in the bottom leagues for a while now. So
how did you become a Sheffield fan?
I bought the game. I bought the game FIFA 2004, and I just randomly picked a team, and it was Sheffield United. And then I did some research on them. I was like, all right, I'm going to support this team, and I've just been following them ever since.
So I've had NBA 2K for a little bit here, 20, and I just started playing it recently. Right, I finally got some time, and I did an expansion thing where you could add expansion teams. So the Sonics came back, and then my expansion team was the Kansas City Scouts. But it was funny because you could redo the draft, right, from 1920. You could start at the draft point. Well, the Lakers ended up with the third pick in the draft, and this is before Anthony Davis trade. And so they ended up picking Zion, number 3. So not only did they have Kuzma and Ball and Ingram, they added Zion with LeBron. And in the offseason, they signed Klay Thompson. He didn't re-sign with the Warriors. So now I'm playing against these, and I just got rolled about 35 with my expansion team. So yeah, but just some fun video game talk. I love video games. That's good to know. That's a fun story to find out how to become a fan of a team is just by randomly selecting them on a video game. So very nice. So we're gonna get into do a little quick interview, and we're gonna hang out with the show with us tonight, right?
Yep, I'm here the whole night.
Outstanding. I love that. We have, and I'm glad because we did a little pre-show back and forth in the DMs, and you've always been very generous to all of us, the three of us, with hooking us up with cards and of our favorite teams and players, and we've always appreciated that in the DMs. But I found out you're a really smart guy, and I'm glad we're having you on tonight. We'll talk a little bit about that later tonight.
It's the first one of those we had.
Yeah. So I wanted to point that out before we got there. So give us a little background, Andrew, on your collecting history. Like, when did you start? How long have you been doing it? Who do you like? Obviously, let's say you like the Sharks and Will Clark. So
yeah. So, I mean, growing up in the central coast of California in the late 80s, early 90s, and being a left-handed baseball player, really had no choice. I had to become a Will Clark fan, whether or not I liked it. So, I mean, my mom, really, my collecting history kind of mirrors my interaction with the 3 generations of women in my life. My mom got me hooked onto baseball really young. She always knew that I was into math and stats, and so she got me introduced to these baseball cards that, in the late 80s and the 90s, they had all these stats on the back. And so I'd just sit there, and I'd love looking at these stats. Who's the league leader? What's their average? All that stuff. And it really started the trend for me. And one bonus that she had is that she had heard a story of my uncle who had almost a complete set of 1955 Bowman.
Wow.
And when he left for college, my grandmother threw him out. And so now, I mean, even then, I know she knew that was a lot of money down the drain. So she always vowed never to throw out any of my junk. And I had a lot of junk, it turns out. So that started it. And then, as happened to all of us, high school years, you kind of get away from the hobby. And then right in college, I met my wife, and she made what probably she'll say is the biggest mistake. Is she took me to this place in Southern California, and if anyone's down here, they know about it. It's called Frankenson's Collectible Show, and it's essentially a flea market, but they're there all the time. It's in a building, and they have tons of collectibles, but one whole aisle is just dedicated to sports cards because she knew I had been a fan, and so she reintroduced me to these cards and let me experience it. And the rush comes back of, oh man, these are my childhood nostalgia. I want to get back into it. There was a period, in the 2009, 2010, I bought in some cards. Not too heavy because, it was still, I also learned about budgeting at that point, and you can't buy everything at once. And then really the last phases, the last 3 or 4 years when my daughter was born, I realized, again, I'm not leaving the house much. So I found my old card collection, and I was like, oh, I have all this time to sort my cards, look back at my old cards. And that's when I was trying to add more cards to my collection. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So I was trying to add more cards to my collection. And then I was searching through eBay, and I discovered this thing called breaking. And I'm like, what is this? I had never heard about it, never seen it. And, I bought into 1 or 2 breaks knowing literally nothing about what it was. And I got that rush like, oh man, this is incredible. I love this. This is different. It's new. It's exciting. And so I was buying in like everyone. I didn't fully understand the ramifications. I was buying everything that I could, just trying to get in. And then I realized I'm buying a bunch of, no disrespect. I'm buying Cardinals. I'm buying Royals. I'm buying teams that I didn't want just to get a spot. And I realized that really the joy of me when I was opening it is I love to open the cards and see the cards. Ben talks about 50% of the value of a card of when you buy a box should be in just the opening it. Well, for me, it's more like 80 or 90%. I love opening the packs. I love the rush of not knowing what you're getting. And so I was kind of missing out on that. And I thought, well, why don't I try breaking? And so I did a little research, got hooked up with the appropriate people. And, I started doing it because I realized, like I said, my daughter was born. We weren't going anywhere anytime soon. I can actually do this week in and week out and be consistent about it. And so I started breaking, and I love it. And, I feel like I found my niche. My niche is not for everyone. I have a very specific method. And so it's really a fun way for me to reconnect with the hobby. I've met some amazing people, like all over the country. I got a standing invitation to go watch, including you guys, of course. Including I got a standing invitation with my buddy Pat down in Ingleside, Texas, to go watch a Corpus Christi Hooks game whenever. And there's really nice guys that you meet, and it's just really cool to meet all these people who are interested in the hobby, and it's amazing. And I want to keep doing it as long as my wife and kids let me.
I mean, that's only
right.
like a
That's
6
kind of
hour
how we
break.
all are.
Yeah.
How did you? Oh, go ahead.
I was just saying, it's important though, in this modern era of technology, to have the friendships that we have and the connections we make, even from afar, is important. And that's probably, I for me, the cards have all of a sudden become more of a byproduct of the friendships that I've had and connected with, and the fact that 50 people right now I could probably call that I met through Twitter that I may meet at a national someday, otherwise would never meet in real life, that would take my call right now and say, hey, I got a problem. Can you listen for a few minutes? And I'm right there for them too. And that's really what I think, wives and coworkers and things really need to understand, that it's much bigger than just the cards.
Well, and Ben's one of the closest to me, and I prefer the internet to connect with Ben.
Right.
So,
Right.
so
Amen and hallelujah and all of them.
We have an inside joke going now. You came up with the name Bayside Breakers because you have a Zach Morris back tattoo. Now, is that the truth?
Well, I may date myself here, but You
It
mean
says
Zach
Preppy
Morris?
in his lower back, right there, right in the small of his back. He's got the stamp that says Preppy.
I wish. Zach Morris is Saved by the Bell, right?
Yeah.
Oh, come on!
I know.
They
I
went-
know.
They went to Bayside High. That's
Okay.
why you know.
But the joke that I'm
Honest-
supposed to say.
Honestly, I picked the game. I picked a name kind of like I picked Sheffield United. I just picked something that had an alliteration, sounded kind of cool, and I did like teams. I did like the teams from the Bay Area, and I was originally from Monterey Bay, so I've always been Bay everything.
That's cool. That's cool. How often are you doing breaks?
For the most part, I try and do one night every weekend. Sometimes it's twice, 2 nights. I'll skip a weekend maybe once every 3 months or something. Really, it comes down to I have to wait till my kids go to sleep before I can start doing it. So that's unfortunately the name of the game.
Yeah. How can people find you in your breaks? Give everybody give a shout out.
So all my breaks are done through eBay. They're all pick your teams. I have an eBay store. It's Bayside Breakers. You can follow us on Twitter or Facebook, Bayside Breakers. We always post what we're breaking each week. I keep it simple. I keep it consistent. Pretty much we break on Fridays. Sometimes we'll do Saturdays or Sundays. But it's all through eBay. And it's just consistent. I don't have unfortunately the time to be putting in a website myself. Maybe one of these days, but yeah, it's all done through eBay, and it's just easy for me to track.
Very good.
I know that you called the Hobby Hotline a while back and spoke with, I believe it was Doug that was on that week for Mojo Break, and he kind of walked you through where getting that personal website would help, and again, speaking to the vast resources we have in the hobby. If you ever decide to go that direction, you have some awesome outlets and friends that can walk you through that process if you decide to ever go in that direction.
Yeah, no, I love those guys over at Mojo. I listen to their podcast as well. You guys are number 1 on my list, but they're number 2. And so I know for what that's worth, you guys are number 1 in my book.
That means a lot.
I like those guys a lot. They do good stuff. I don't try and step on anybody's toes. I think everybody who does breaks is great in their own way, and so I would never criticize anybody. Not that I even have anything bad to say about them in the first place. I can't. They are the standard. They are the kings.
And Doug and Dan and I were on the Hobby Hotline, the Monday night show, Monday Night Heats. And we kind of talked about that and about breakers and how to where to start out. And, I think, his advice was what you're doing is the eBay stuff. And it's kind of a way to get started and be consistent in the fact that you're, weekend breaker and you're consistent, where you list, when you list and how, what nights you break, that's perfect. And so I think that's awesome. And, if you ever decide you want to dive in head first, I know those will be the first 2 guys to line up and walk you through step by step of whatever questions you had, because they are tremendous assets and they don't care about sharing the secret sauce. They want everybody to have it because they feel like the pie's big enough. And go back and look at if you go back to their page on YouTube and just click oldest videos to newest and watch the first year or 2 of videos, you will laugh compared to where they are now. And they were trying to figure out as they went along 10 years ago, and so that's what's cool is they understand where they came from, and they're just as normal as any other collector out there. So that's outstanding.
Yeah.
Well, and just one more thought. I could see why you guys would get along because you like the Dumb Giants and Doug likes the Dumb Giants, and so you guys have this little dumb connection over
World Series rings, yeah.
Son of a gun. Why do you always have to go there?
Because that's what counts, right?
No,
that's all.
You play for the flags fly forever. Flags fly
matters?
Doesn't know much
What
about
matters?
flags.
And moving on, what's the next question we have for you?
So we want to talk a little bit about the hobby. What's your current sense of the state of the hobby like right now?
Honestly, if you would have told me we are here at this point, 6 months ago, I would have laughed at you. I can't.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on. Basketball. I understand why basketball is hot the way it is. With this rookie class, I know football's only going to get hotter. I feel like because this next rookie class, you got like 4 or 5 QBs and at the end of the day, the QB rookies are what drive this. I started to notice though, this isn't really a COVID thing. I did start to notice that, towards the end of last year, it was really starting. It was there was starting to see a little increase, and then it really took off. I feel like once COVID happened, and a lot of that I think is because of the COVID. People like me were just sitting at home, nothing to do. But I also noticed, at least from my perspective, I was getting a lot more international buyers were coming in to the hobby, and I think that stems from basketball. Basketball international is huge out there, and so, but with the basketball prices the way they were getting frozen out of basketball, so they turned their attention to another sport.
No, yeah, and I agree with you on that. But I figured when COVID happened, we would see the opposite. Money would dry up. But the thing is, no one's going out to spend money out on dinner and drinks and that stuff. There's no games, you can go to. You're not going to the bars. There's no gambling. All of this stuff where we just burn and throw money away on a daily basis has really been taken out. So now you have this excess money, and it's like, well, what the hell else am I going to do? And you find sport lots, and you start finishing up sets you had from 25 years ago.
There's a reason I'm the only person who goes and gets the mails nowadays, and I don't let anyone else see what got delivered.
I'll let it die for a while just so it wouldn't pop up as much. Where do you see the hobby? Where do you see yourself in the hobby 5 years from now? Personally and breaking, yeah.
So personally, I mean, I'm a big Will Clark collector. I've been piecing him since the beginning. My collection's probably up to close to 20,000 total, maybe 2,500 unique cards. So that is going to be my main focus moving forward. I've also started collecting Sheffield United just because they're actually making cards of them now. So personally, I'm going to keep going for those guys. I just, Will Clark, man, you got to stop signing stuff. You're killing me with all these autos that you keep releasing. but then says, I got to have it. I got to have it. Even though I have 100 of his autos, I got to get that one more. So I'm always going to keep, collecting. In terms of breaking, this is something that as long as I'm able to do it, I'm going to keep doing it. Sure. To me, this isn't about the money. This is just straight joy. I just love doing it. It's so fun. It's so fun to see you pull that card and you're like, oh my God, this is like a Zion patch auto. This is something that I would never get a chance to hold in my hands, and here it is. Yeah. And I feel like I've definitely got more confident. Like you said, you look at Mojos from 10 years ago. If you look some of my early breaks, my hands are like shaking, and it's like it's only like a base card here, and I'm like shaking holding this thing, and it's just so fun now to see where I am. And I still get giddy when you get that card, and it's just that rush you get from opening it. And
don't go back and watch our first few podcasts.
No, definitely not. They've been deleted or will be. No, but following up on that, what would you say are the top 2 or 3 hits that you pulled?
Honestly, it's not from the big 3 sports. It's not from baseball, football, or basketball. The biggest one was, I think we pulled a 1-of-1 Cristiano Ronaldo auto last year. There's some guys that I just seem to pull all the time, and as much as I hate the guy, it seems like we're always pulling Ronaldo autos, and I hate the guy. I'm totally a Messi fan over him.
Yeah, but
that's not bad.
That's good for business.
But you pull that, and it's like, all right, this is pretty cool. And so that's probably the biggest one. And the other one was actually from a Star Wars Master Strokes that I broke. Okay. We pulled a Ewan McGregor 1-of-1 gold framed auto.
Wow.
And he does not sign a lot. He's kind of expensive, and he just doesn't do it that much. So, I mean, I had some guy who just happened to be watching the breaks, like, emailed me after and said, I'll give you $5,000 for that card right now. And I was like, well, so, I mean, thanks for the offer, but it's not my card. So I can't do it. So I can give you the email of the guy whose card it was, but I was like,
I was just about to ask because, for me, I would have no idea what that would possibly sell for. So I was just about to ask what something like that might go. Well, I mean, the Ronaldo, what would the secondary market look like that if I'm throwing it up as a buy it now?
So the problem with not the problem. The difference with that was that Ronaldo was Donruss. It was a Donruss set, so it was not. It was basically the lowest end Ronaldo auto you could get, but it's still a Ronaldo auto. They were saying it was, I think it was more than $5,000 is what they were saying for in that, because
still not a bad day at the office over there.
Guys, we're setting a bad precedent. 2 weeks in a row, we've now had soccer guests on the show.
I'm telling you, soccer is the next frontier, probably, with the sports card market, and there's a few reasons for that. The main reason is that both Panini and Topps have license to these teams. So you have, and the way it works is because you have the European leagues where all the Champions League, and so and even though the English Premier League is exclusive to Panini, the teams that are playing in the Champions League are licensed through the Champions League. So you can have teams from like the Liverpool, the champions from the Premier League, because they play in Champions League. You have Topps and Panini both producing cards of these teams. So there is competition between the two card companies to produce better cards of certain teams.
Well, yeah, I think soccer bypasses hockey as far as collectability, and I think it also could challenge basketball someday just with the international market that it has. And with the guy Mbappe, who is people are all about this guy, and so we'll see, right?
Well,
yeah, and he doesn't sign is his biggest problem, but
with soccer too, not only do you have the international market for it, but they do such a good job, like the NBA, of marketing their superstars. I mean, right now we know who baseball's biggest stars are, whether it's Trout or Yelich or some of the youngsters that are up and coming, but how many times do you turn your TV on if you actually watch commercials? Do you see anything to do with any of these guys? I mean, they're just not. Baseball is horrible at marketing. We all know that. But soccer, much like the NBA, they take their stars. NASCAR's another one that does a lot with their guys. And you got your superstar, and they just throw their what weight they have behind it. And I interesting insight about what soccer. I mean, before the show started, I had to say, "Hey Google, what is soccer?" Because apparently I'm going to talk about it tonight. And then, Google's like, what was your question? I don't think I can help you with that. Yes.
There is some caveats with the soccer cards in that, as much as we complain about the teams here and the players here switching teams around and it's tough for teams to stay, it is 10 times worse over there in Europe. These guys move every 2 to 3 years, it seems like. And so it presents opportunities too, in that sometimes, Ronaldo's first card on Juventus, his current team, is just as valuable as his first card on other teams. So it's almost like they have multiple rookie cards. They're not quite that important, but that has plus and minuses to that as well.
That's interesting. If you could only own one card that you currently own, what card would it be and why?
So I knew this question was coming, so I pulled it out. It's this bad boy right here.
Oh, put that away.
The 1987 Will Clark. That exact card right there is the one my mom bought for me for my birthday when I was younger. She paid a full $5 for it, just to show you.
What?
I know, just to show you where the hobby is now. But it's the Will Clark rookie card that got me started, and
that's awesome.
It just led me on this path.
Best set that Topps has ever made, and one of his best cards, in my opinion. So, real quick, as a follow-up to that, who is the best first baseman from the Bay Area teams ever, and why is it Mark McGwire?
Well, I would say McGwire was in the Bay Area longer, so you could give him the longevity.
If we're doing that to McCovey.
Listen, I put that ball on the tee for you. It was so easy. Just swing through it, drive it over the fence.
McGwire, you would have swung and missed.
Yeah, and then you take a wiffle ball, and you're like, now it dribbles off the tee, and it's rolling around home plate.
I'm not going to get into semantics here. I mean, at the end of the day, I love Will Clark. I'm not saying he was the best ever. He's my guy. I love him. He had a great glove. I think his swing is still one of the top 3 to 5 ever.
3, probably, yeah.
I mean, it was a beautiful swing. I loved his tenacity. I mean,
all right, follow-up question. Out of McGuire and Clark, which of the two had the best goatee, and why was it Mark McGuire?
I don't think
one had an actual rookie that year.
All right, this is weird.
You son of a jerk. All right, so what's brewing next week?
Let's hit up the week that was last week's releases. Topps Living Week 124. We had card 331, Kenny Lofton, Outfielder, Cleveland Indians, sold almost 2,100 cards, and then card 332, Mauricio Dubon, rookie shortstop, San Francisco Giants, went to high school here in Sacramento. I didn't know he went to Capital Christian. What's up, Sacktown? Sold 1,955 cards, and not a bad week. We figured this is about what it would be. Kenny Lofton, just those tribe teams in the mid '90s, holy moly, they were some of my favorite teams that never won. They should have won in '97. Joe Table, kind of blew it for them. But those are some outstanding. That was an outstanding team that John and Hart put together there. So
there's a reason that outside of 1991, we were miserable throughout the decade, and it was Kenny Lofton, Roberto Alomar, Jim Tome's fault.
Yeah, but the Twins '91 team, that '91 team was really an extension of the '80s teams. It just happened to be '91. But yeah, the seventh best guy on the Indians back in 1995. Was still a Hall of Famer. It's like sweet Jesus when you look at that, how stacked that lineup was, and then they didn't win a World Series.
Yeah, and they had good pitching too. So make sure to check out our buddy at Topps Living Stat for full breakdown of where these cards fall respectively in the set by team and by position. We also have 2020 Topps Sterling Baseball, which it's only a $7,000 case. So I know all of us were breaking that this last week. 2020 Panini Donruss Optic Baseball, which I know that Andrew broke some of that because you saw my tweet. There was some Royals that made it my way. Very happy with those. I like it probably better than Donruss. I think next year that might be a set I'd try to run down. 2020 Goodwin Champions came out with all of its fun stuff. I saw that our buddy Ryan, Card Collector 2, had a LeBron sneaker redemption card pulled out of his store. So you send it in, you get this card that's got this big giant piece of a LeBron game used shoe. So I thought that was pretty awesome. And and if you've ever watched Ryan's YouTube, he loves collecting King James and doesn't have any faults against him. He's from Ohio, so yep. And then let's hit on the hot off the presses this week's new releases. Topps Living Week 125. Card 333, Yasmani Grandal, catcher, Chicago White Sox. And card 334, Kyle Lewis, rookie outfielder, Seattle Mariners. Great timing for Lewis as he's had a great start to the season. And I think he's the one guy from Series 1 that we forget about. Case in point, as we hit the opening, of the baseball season, I went to Sport Lots and I had about 15 or 20 of these left over from my Series 1 cases, but I bought a handful more of his base rookie cards for less than $1 a piece. Then he started popping off and I'm like, oh, it's not a bad little come up. I'm trying to set some stuff up if we ever get a local show to have some more current rookies out for sale. So, by the way, Sport Lots, like this has been a small stack this week. And I'm buying cards for less than $2 most of the time, and if you buy from this, it's become an addiction, guys. I need help.
Why not use the box option then if you're buying so much and just have that stuff shipped to you 30 days from now?
Because the box option to ship it to the box from a lot of these sellers was the same price to ship it directly to me, and so I didn't want to pay twice. Now I do have stuff to go to the box if it is free. Which in my Sport Lot store, I make shipping to the box free, so it entices people to buy more. So, no, but I think we're getting back to Topps Living. I think this is the start of a good week. I mean, Kyle Lewis has been performing this last week. It's a good looking card. Grandal, free agent to a new team. The White Sox are off to a bad start, but they're a very offensively potent team. I'm just glad that they released Robert so early because I think if he had a Topps Living card come out now, that thing would have maybe beat a Kunin's 45,000. So
maybe. I don't think that high, but I think you're on the right track. Where I don't know. I mean, Dr. Fauci's card sold, and I know we're going to probably talk about that momentarily, but right now with that and some of the Project 2020 stupid numbers that we saw for that 2 to 3 week window, maybe it's funny. Chris Harris, when we asked him last week, where do you see the future of the hobby? And it's like, I don't know. And it's like, that's what's funny is we could sit here and spit into the wind all day long. But the bottom line is, you release Robert right now, he sells 15,000, he sells 95,000. Who the hell knows? Yeah, how many speculators hop in there and just try to? Because and that's the thing is, you see so much of this stuff turn around quickly for just ridiculous money.
Yeah. No, I do. All right, so we have 2020 Topps Museum Collection dropped today. It's about $260 a box, 4 packs per box, 5 cards per pack. You're getting 1 autograph, 1 auto relic, 1 quad relic, 1 additional relic, and 4 parallels. It's a 100-card base set. That's always full of current stars and retired players. The cards are the autos are on card. Despite having multiple signers, the duals and triples are still on card. They have a superstar showpieces, which is numbered to 25, that has a little action photography. The canvas collection has 50 cards in there, and those are those reprints. They also have the originals, and those are one-of-one pieces of art. And they're also going to have some that have autographs on them. The frame cards come back, and everybody loves the frame. And they have those autograph patches and dual autograph patch booklet cards, which are hinged together, and those are one-of-ones. And there's some new additions. There's an autograph jumbo lumber bat relics numbered to 5 or less. So they're going to have a big piece of a game-used bat along with an autograph. And then one of the museum's calling cards, those the framed autos, the case hit ones. And there's 4 different styles: the silver, the gold, the black, and the wood framed. I know, Andrew, you opened a little bit of this today. Is that correct?
Yeah, I opened one box of my own, just for my own personal. You can see there's a Robert, and then you got just shown in the picture, you got a Jordan. They're nice cards. The one thing I would say is they're not really that different from last year's, which is great if you loved last year's. There's just it's kind of feels like it's kind of the same design, but it's not a bad set overall. I like it. It's just not that different is all, if that's what you were looking for.
Yeah, they're good. They're nice thick stock. They're glossy fronts. Mm-hmm. We were talking before the show. The Tribute and Museum and even some of the Bowman products and stuff just haven't shown enough of a difference over the last 3 to 4 years that repetitive nature is. Why should I buy, say, another Will Clark if he came out this year when, it's going to be the same auto. Sometimes, hell, it's a close enough, if not the identical picture, just cropped closer or further away. It's just, it makes it really challenging as a collector when there's not something that goes out and grabs you, especially when you're a super collector of a player. And it's literally like, I've got to have that Will Clark or that McGuire or that Brett or that Puckett. How do you reconcile that? Especially,
I don't think it looks. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, especially if you have a spouse that's like, why do you need all 43 Prism parallels? It's the same card. Well, it's not. But yeah, how many autographs of a said player do you need, especially when you start to get more expensive? It's not like these guys are costing us $5. A lot of these autographs are pushing $80+.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm still going to chase every single Will Clark auto from this set that I can.
Sure,
I mean, it's still going to happen.
I don't think it looks any different. I don't think it looks a lot different from the Bowman Sterling that just came out.
That's true.
The Bowman Sterling might have different patches or bigger windows or a handful more windows. But if you truly look at the cards themselves, they look very similar. And, that's where it's like, okay, 260, 250, 260 for a box, not a bad deal. You might be able to find it, better, if you shop around a little bit or have a homie hookup versus like spending, $7,000 on a case. The case of this isn't going to be that bad. I mean, and I'm a big fan of the framed cards, and I can't wait to see the first hinged card. I mean, I've seen pictures of it, but I want to see someone pull one where it's got the dual frame and they have actual hinge on it. I mean, that's pretty cool. I got to say,
interesting.
Yeah. I love the frame cards. I think Gold Label is one of the most underrated sets, strictly because of that, not for the base cards or anything else. Any one of those framed cards to me are just incredible. Yeah, so I'm with you. I want to see them do. If I love one frame card, give me 2.
Yeah, and the other thing too is that I'm a big fan of it is like the encased autos. Now, not different from like Topps Archive Signature Series. but one where like if the hit was, if you guys remember, there was a football product in 2010 that came out that had all the base cards, but then you had your pack, a second pack in there, and it was foil wrapped, and it was the hit of the case or the box, and it was encased.
Mhm.
I mean, those were always really cool to me. I think, if we see some of those come back as well, that people wouldn't turn a blind eye. But we all know that Topps has an issue right now getting one touches like the rest of us. So we're going to talk a little about that later in the show. Also this week, 2020 Panini Donruss Elite Football drop today of $320 a box. Woo! Oh, 20 packs per box, 5 cards per pack. You're going to get 1 10 Pals autograph, 1 additional auto, a mem card, 8 inserts, 6 parallels, and only 3 rookies. It's a 200 card base set, 100 veterans, 100 rookies. All of the rookies are numbered to $7.99. The rookies, it's the rookies' first traditional release with them in their NFL uniforms. The Pen Pal cards are on, autos are on card. There's veteran autographs available, and one of the cooler sets was Back to the Future signatures. Those are numbered 149 or less. I just like the name. And they're also offering the 2000 Elite Rookies, take it back 20 years for the design, with a 50 card set. And they put this year's rookie crop on those cards from 20 years ago, which is always fun for people that can remember that far back or collecting then. So a lot of numbered cards in here. Elite is one of everybody's favorites, but that box price is, boy howdy, bat football is hot. And we haven't even gotten close to a football season. So.
Yeah, I opened a box of this too, and the base set is okay. There's the parallels to me are meh, but really here's a pen pal of Mr. Jerry Jeudy, so you could see it is on card, in his Broncos jersey. That's pretty sweet. But I will
the auto.
Yeah, better than some other players. But I will say that the insert sets are probably my favorite part of this set. This is the on deck set. And it's, like the card set, and all the inserts are embossed, which is, you don't really see that much anymore. Yeah, and it kind of harkens back to some of the older school cards. So I really love the insert sets.
I think Panini has just destroyed it in all their sports this year with the insert sets. We've talked about the downtown and basketball ones, those Marvel hero looking comic book ones that are in basketball, and I think those were in Donruss, and they were. We liked them, and then all of a sudden those exploded. I think in a lot of their releases this year, they went back and revamped their inserts. I feel it's the feeling of the 90s again, like where inserts actually matter, and Panini's done a really good job with that, and I hope Topps was paying attention to what they're doing with some of these insert sets, and hey, let's do a 20-card set of some awesome players versus, a 150-card set of just kind of everybody. And it's the same old thing, and but that's outstanding. It's good to hear that there's good inserts coming out of this as well. So that always helps. But if you're the secondary, if you pull out a good auto and you want to keep it, and you're looking to kind of make a few bucks back selling an insert, always feels good when you can do well there. 1920 Panini's Chronicles basketball drops on Friday. Now, I couldn't find an exact price because DA Card World was sold out. Steel City was sold out. Blowout was sold out. But from what I can find, a box is going to run you $800 to $900 for Chronicles basketball. It's 6 packs per box, 8 cards per pack, 2 autographs. It's a 699 card base set made up of 26 sets. You guys are ready? We're going to roll through all 26. Chronicles,
right, I'm going to count them.
Chronicles, Prestige, Threads, Panini, Luminance, Playbook, Donruss, Essentials, Marquee, XR, Recon, Elite, Black Box, Majestic, Limited, Gala, Titanium, Vanguard, Prism Update, Donruss, Optic Traded, Crusade, Hometown Heroes Optic, Phoenix, Flux, Score, Classics, and Rookies and Stars. Now, the Prism Update is very interesting to me. It's a 10-card set. You have a handful of you have a couple of rookies that have made some impact that did not have Prism cards. Kendrick Nunn and Taco Fall. Those 2 cards, I believe, are going to be very sought after. You also have Paul George, Kyrie Irving, Kawhi Leonard, Anthony Davis, Kevin Durant, and Carmelo Anthony all on their new teams. A couple other rookies, Kai Bowman and Terrence Davis, did not make it in there. And then Donruss Optic traded. You have five veterans that were in there. Andrew Wiggins, D'Angelo Russell, Andre Iguodala, Andre Delman, and Marcus Morris Sr. All those guys will be in Optic up traded. And they're all vets, but again, one of those that that was very sought after, kind of finishing it up, I guess, if you want to complete that. Those Prism updates, though, I'm telling you, if you want a Kendrick Nunn, get ready to pay a pretty penny for one of his rookie cards coming out. So
I'm going to extend an open invitation to anybody out there listening. If you put the entire 699 card base set together, please come on our show, and we want to hear your story. But we also want graphs and charts as to what you spent.
Is it more impressive to complete that, or the guy at the game, the ticket stubs from every Carlton Fist game he played in?
Ticket stubs.
Ticket.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's close, right? I'm not wrong. Like we're still still playing the same sport, right?
Yeah,
and I see that.
we can barely get a 700 card baseball base set anymore these days, and Panini's crapping out 26 different card designs. What a mess, man! And it sucks because some of them look really nice individually.
We talk about this every time we get a release from Chronic. My favorite thing is to read off the list of all the cards. By the way, Crackdown's hanging out this time. Brian, hey, thank you. We borrowed a lot of this information from your story. So check out his articles on beckon.com/news for more details on these releases. Tons of photos, tons of updates of what's going on. We just kind of get some highlights from there, and we couldn't do this without all of Ryan's hard work. So thank you, Ryan. And what's brewing next week's releases? We have 2020 Panini Gold Standard Football. The first off the line came out the other day, and they hit 300 a box. So that's going to be very interesting to see what those boxes come out. 2020 Topps Luminaries Baseball, 2020 Panini NFL Sticker and Album Collection, 2020 Topps Chrome Baseball, and 1920 Panini Opulence Basketball hits as well. I bet that's about $1,000 to $1,500 a box, right? So yeah, that'll be fun to see. Let's hit it up. Infield Chatter, a hobby talk section of the podcast. Make sure you watch the Hobby Hotline this Saturday on YouTube, Periscope, and Facebook at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern. And make sure you check out Monday Night Heat, the same channels, but at 5 p.m. Pacific and 8 p.m. Eastern. So I think I'm doing the Monday show again, and I'm not sure who's on Saturday, but come in and hang out with us. We love the chat. We love topics. We had some awesome calls. We had Ange call in and talk about who we wanted to see who we wanted to see in Allen and Ginter, and that got some chatter started. And we had a few other calls about buying and selling and how to and getting supplies and that kind of stuff. So there was a lot of good content that came out on Monday's show.
Can I make a comment on that, on Allen and Ginter real quick? You guys joke about not being signed, not being signatories to that set. And really, compared to some of the other yahoos they get on this, it is kind of shocking that they haven't asked you yet. Like
we all won't fit on a card together.
That's unbelievable. You put them all three on, that would be awesome. A triple auto, that would be amazing. Yeah. Some of the people, it's like, really, you're gonna put these guys on over you guys? Like, no, come on, Todd.
We said something about that. I think a couple months back before when they were like, hey, who should be on this year? It's like it might be a time for some of the hobby content creators, podcasters or whatever, to have a set. But again, it's one of those things. Who wants our base cards outside of us calling our moms and go, hey, guess what?
Well, speaking of calling your moms. I think it was Brad Bethune that sent this out, but there was an article on Plymouth.wickedlocal.com. Matthew Gerard posted an article about the podcast about sports cards to listen to, and it was about the cards: Sports Card Nation, Wax, Ecstatic, and Mojo Break. 3 of the 4 are part of the Hobby Hotline, and we did talk to Wax Ecstatic. He just didn't have the time to commit to coming on to the Hobby Hotline. So quality there, I guess. So I was pretty excited to see us pop in there as the first one. And, that linked it out and told them where they could find our podcast. And so that was pretty awesome. So Thank you so much, Matthew, for thinking about us and checking out the podcast. We really do appreciate that, and it was that was pretty awesome to wake up to, because again, we're just three chuckleheads talking about sports cards, and actually have somebody listen to the show. So
that's how I found you guys, to be honest. Is I just did a Google search and I was just Googling, what top sports card podcasts to listen to, and you guys were on it, and I was like,
everybody
all right,
fooled.
I'll give it a shot. and here we are.
Yeah, that's
still
awesome.
listening.
Well, kind of how we ended up with the show. We were just like talking one night on Zoom, and we're like, hey, go live real quick.
Speaking of which, we've had some hobby brothers hop into this. Brad Bethune at Texas Card Dude. It's out. The First Confessions, episode 1. Give it a listen. He started doing a podcast of collecting, and then our buddy Joey Shirer, best known as Dub Mentality. We shout out to Mr. Jimmy Bro and Hey It's Murph for the final nudge you needed. He has a podcast, a dose of Dub, and I think both are on Anchor. And check it out. So hey, no one's it was not alphabetical order because Wax Ecstatic came before Mojo Break. So there you go, bud. And I need some refunds now, I guess. Give those two guys a listen. Brad's been a staple on the hobby hotline for quite a bit, and has some great insight, good questions. And then Dub's been in this hobby for a long time writing, and it's great to have him do a pod. He's been on with us before, so just
quite
another
possibly the only person shorter in the hobby than Ben.
Brad,
do you want to go tonight or something, dude? Because I don't care. I'll leave Friday afternoon and come down there and give you an old Texas ass whooping.
You think so? For what it's worth,
I love it.
Newman, Summer, and Ben Wilson.
Oh,
yeah, I just found that out. Apparently, I'm on Saturday, so surprise me.
But by the way, we've just spun off a couple more podcasts. I mean, Mike Summer has a podcast now. These guys, and Mike is doing something crazy. I don't know if you guys saw the news, but there is a new LCS coming to the world. The Wax Pack Hero sports card shop is coming out. He says, I'm taking over space and hopefully we'll be ready to open in September. Now, Mike and I have talked a little bit about this before it happened, but there's an interesting opportunity he had where at his local card shop, there was a secondary space inside the physical shop. And that guy that had it in there, and Mike's got a good relationship with the owner, and the guy of the other shop inside of it was looking to get out of it. And Mike had a good opportunity to buy all of his inventory, take over the spot. There's a few stipulations in it, which I don't think are a big deal. And so Mike is going to have a card shop within a card shop. And he picked up, he says, around 1 million cards or so from this guy. Some he's going through for sport lots, and then some will be in the showcase. So he's going through it. And yeah, it's outstanding. So
normal.
Good for Mike. It's good to see him kind of expand on his footprint in the hobby. Yeah. And it's good. I think a great opportunity for him, and I'm really excited to kind of see what he does with it. And it's just an awesome. I think it's everybody's dream. I know that we had a local card shop that sold a few years back. I had an opportunity to buy it. It wasn't the right opportunity at the time, but when you get an opportunity like this, I mean, good for him.
Yeah. Yeah, so no, he's going to be working on that, and hopefully we'll see him in September open and running that. So, God, you hate to see this. There's a house fire at Trying to Grind. Tweeted out how fire at the house looks like a complete inventory loss for his eBay store, chrome cards and more. All the humans and animals were safe though. It's one of those things. I don't know, if anybody buys from Card Chromes and more, And I bet I bet I have too. I just haven't taken a peek. Sure. But, it's one of those things you hate to see, but you're glad everybody's okay. But, I mean, if you look here, there's tons of inventory and new stuff. And, first of all, fires are terrible. But, to also lose your collection and your inventory is pretty terrible as well. But, you got to look at the bright side. Everybody made it out alive. So
everybody was safe. This is stuff that if it goes away tomorrow, it'll be disappointing. But, life moves on. The fact that everybody was alive, both human and animals, nobody lost their life. At the end of the day, this is just cardboard. And yeah, it's unfortunate because I'm sure he lost a ton of inventory, and that equates to, money. But at the end of the day, everybody's still breathing, and that's really, what's most important.
Yeah. No, definitely. Today would have been day one of the 2020 National Atlantic City. And I know Suze did her card chat was really based around that quite a bit today. Steph, what would we be missing here today since you're the veteran of the Nationals?
First of all, it's national, not
no veteran of. I said veteran of Nationals. There's been multiple Nationals you've been to.
3.
Veteran of the National.
Wednesday's kind of a slow day. They open up mid to late afternoon. It's really more just an intro, everyone getting set up, and flying in, seeing people for mostly dinner. So in that case, we're missing the hobby house and sharing some drinks with friends.
Yeah. Do you guys think the 2021 National in Chicago will happen where we stand right now, a year from today?
I wish.
Yeah, it probably does. I mean, without to go off the political rails, there's who knows if this is going to last past November. If you want to go down that rabbit hole of conspiracy theories, unless we hit Q2, the beginning of spring, say March, April, and we're really in the same kind of a situation. I don't see how it can't, but who knows? I mean, right now, if you can predict what's going to happen tomorrow in this world,
Yeah.
Sure.
Like I said, if I woke up tomorrow with horns on my head, I'd just be like, okay. I just have to cut hat holes in all my hats.
You should anyway, because that one's gross.
Oh, it's got, hold on, 50 years of being an awesome baseball franchise.
Oh, I thought it was going to say 2014 World Series runners-up.
Yeah, I have that hat.
You're stretching that word awesome, like as much as you could do like a Stretch Armstrong.
Yeah. When's the last time you guys won a World Series or were in one? How about the last time you won a playoff game?
You know what? Screw you guys. I'm out of here.
Yeah. I remember, 2014 comes up, because that was a good playoff in the wild card where, I remember we played a team and they were beating us, and I thought we had lost, and then they sucked up, and they sucked so bad we came back and we won. Anyway.
What was in your guys' Cheerios this morning?
I'm hot tonight, baby. Are you guys doing something instead to celebrate the National this week or this weekend? I am. I just opened card purchase or.
I just opened up a package from our friend at Bayside Breakers. It's on my desk. I haven't had a chance to actually process it and catalog it, but it came in yesterday or Monday maybe, and I'm really excited to dive into it. It's got some of the Donruss Optic and some archived signatures, so it's pretty cool. So yeah, that's how I'm celebrating this week.
Nice.
I've got 3 packages that showed up that, for the most part, were unplanned. I got a package.
Your parents said that about you.
Containing some supersized cards.
Yeah.
They had to make this card just to fit his head on it, by the way.
They did. They really did. But also some purchases. So like a gold to match my update gold. Well, I mean, it wouldn't be a national without drinks and foods. So,
we're trying to be like a 90-minute show or so. We can't see every card on your desk, buddy.
By the way, I went to the LCS today. I spent $30. Couple of Jordans, and then 85 Leaf Clemens, 2 of this guy named Puckett, and then an 83.
85 Leaf.
Yeah, and then an 83 Fleer Gwyn. So.
No, I mean, outside of the PSA 10 for this guy that showed up, this might be my favorite edition. Optic, red, white, and blue.
That's a pretty sharp card. That's cool.
Guy, I think, has a good chance to lead the American League in batting average for the next several years.
Yeah, I know there's a virtual thing that started today. There's the Hobby Palooza there's a bunch of other things going on to check it out. So, yeah. Baseball is back. Are you guys excited? We finally have some baseball on television, despite what the Marlins are trying to do to baseball besides being an awful franchise. I mean, no other franchise is terrible as those guys.
You're saying trying to be bad? They've been bad for years. This isn't new, yeah.
You know what?
They painted Derek Jeter.
I was going there too because I think the best commentary that I saw is if their screwery ends up with the rest of us not getting a season, Derek Jeter owes us a bunch of gift baskets for fucking us.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice.
I want an autograph picture of Jeets, right? No, I think we were going to see one of these to come up, but the fact that it was the Marlins and they've really screwed it up. Like baseball can move on without them. I mean, because they are not even they're at this point like a AAA team, right? They're not even a quad A team. You know, they just are. You know, that 2 years ago, when they traded everybody off, they traded their entire all-star outfield away, and basically got nothing nothing really of substance back for those three guys.
Totally not coincidental that Jeter goes to them after trading away their biggest star to the Yankees. Nope, not at all.
So, it's one of those things. But I'm excited to see it back. I mean, I've been watching, games. It was great to see. I saw, Trout hit a home run. Ohtani got kind of shelled against the A's the other day. But it doesn't matter. Like, whatever baseball game is on, I've been watching. By the way, Fernando Tatis is the real deal. Junior. And those Padre uniforms and those new Brewer uniforms, they have such a nice retro and new modern vibe to them. Congratulations for them understanding. The Twins going back with some baby blues. The one team that screwed up the baby blues somehow was the Rangers, but also their stadium looks like a
Lowe's warehouse.
So, let's there it is. That.
So this is how baseball season goes, right? And I think we can all empathize. On Monday, the A's were 3-1. I was on top of the world. It's now Wednesday, and the A's are 3-3. So screw baseball.
Well,
I think that pretty much
a home run the other day.
Yeah, sacrifice fly. Screw that, dude.
He's the new Ben Zobrist. I'm telling you guys right now, he is the next Ben Zobrist. He might not ever be an all-star like Ben was, but I'm telling you right now, he will be. He's one of those guys that can like your buddy Pender that should play every day, and for whatever reason, they have some guy named Machine playing. But
like
I'm telling you,
7. Yeah,
Hampson is, and it's not because I'm biased, but he can play a bunch of positions. He's speedy. He can hit. Watch out for him. Great
story. I may have told this on the podcast before, but at FanFest a couple years ago, Jonathan had just been born in October. This is January. We get a chance to take a picture with Pender, and my wife Heather's like, "You want to hold him?" And Chad, again, plays 7 positions, really, above average. And he puts his arms out. She puts Jonathan, all 3 months old, in his arms and says, "Here, let's take the picture." And he looks so uncomfortable. He's holding this baby and Kendall Graveman was there too. I'm glad to see he's back. He's pitching with the Mariners. And Kendall's like, "Dude, you better not let this picture be seen by his fiance Taylor." He goes, "Otherwise you're gonna have a problem." And Chad's just like, and the picture's great because he's such a fish out of water, but he took it in great stride. And
that's all. I think I think I talked to another A's guy today. I talked to Eric, and he was like, "Man, Pender needs to be playing all the time."
Oh yeah, somewhere you have 8 positions, give him one.
Yeah, but I like the pumped-in crowd noise. People are against it. I think it's okay. It's fine. I don't really when you're watching the game, you don't really miss the crowd. My favorite thing is that I was watching Dodgers-Giants. Will Smith of the Dodgers hits a home run, unfortunately, but it decapitated one of the fans' cardboard cutouts. I was like, it hit him right in the throat. I was like, yes. And then I was watching the Padres play, and they had these 2 ladies that were sitting right behind home plate, the cutouts. They looked worse than DMV photos. They looked like they were being held hostage. They were like this. So either people hate these 2 ladies and said, we're going to put the worst pictures out them if possible, or they just are ugly and don't take good photos, because who puts that so it's on TV all year long? I'm dying. And it's just...
So 2 things. One, They've definitely handled it better than hockey has. Hockey had a few exhibition games today. My Wild lost. What else is new? However, I noticed whenever they would go to an on ice call, the audio was butchered in that they didn't want the hot mics on. Now, I don't know whether that's a testament to hockey players' abundance of curse words that they use, but I mean, even the announcers, the refs, when they're calling penalties, just it was like backmasked 6, 7, 8 seconds. Baseball's handled that better. I'll give them that. I'm loving the season so far. 4-1.
I knew hockey. They were talking about they were going to have issues with that because they were on like an 11-second delay because, like you said, they. I mean, even in normal times, if it's quiet, you can hear the players cursing.
Sure. I mean, even there's an infamous YouTube video, and I'll share it on the Twitter account after the show here. But it's one player passing the puck up, yelling "fuck" because he missed it, hitting another guy who also yells "fuck" within the span of like 5 seconds, and both get picked up on the hot.
That's the Sharks. One of the players was Brent Burns. I remember that. I remember watching that. I was like, "What are you doing?" It's
not like Lexicum when they interviewed him when they went to the World Series and he dropped a few F-bombs. That was. But no, there was one. I can't remember. It was a Dodger that beat a ball into the ground, and he said it.
Robot.
He said it a couple of times going down the first baseline. So
is that me or is that Tim?
I don't know. It's probably both of us.
Is what?
I think it was
that he was trying to say.
Well, that's better than I probably did say. We had some World Series picks, guys. Who is your pick to the World Series, Andrew?
Well, so I'm a Giants fan, so clearly I'm not going to pick the Dodgers. I'm not going to pick the Yankees, even if I think they're going to win. I actually picked the Braves over the Rays.
Interesting. Well, the Rays are sneaky good. So
the Rays are sneaky good, and I feel like with the short season like this, it's going to come down to hitting. I just don't think the pitchers are going to get it together by the time the playoffs even roll around. And so I think whoever's got the slugging lineup at the end of the day is going to win it. And I think I have been a high on Albies since the beginning. I think he is underrated. He gets caught in Acuna's shadow, and so I think he's going to have a huge season for him.
Steph, who do you have?
Twins Dodgers. Repeated the 65 series.
Let's do it. Let's just not let the Dodgers win this one then, huh?
Yep. Preferably.
Benjamin?
Yeah, I wanted to be so unique and pick something like the 1990 redo, A's Reds, because I think both teams legitimately could end up in the World Series.
Reds lineup is nice.
But then I was like this. I started typing and I was like, no, that's a homer pick. And I went, Yankees, Dodgers, dumb. But I was like, I mean, if we were all taking our next paycheck and we're taking it down to Vegas and you had to choose two teams, it's a cheap pick because it's like the most obvious but until the Dodgers or Yankees are eliminated in this new 8-team playoff format, I'm sorry, but those are the teams that have the best statistical odds of making.
That helps a lot of people, with having 8 teams in each league. Andrew's the smartest man in the world, and he went Braves, Rays, and so did I. And I think too, if you look at the Rays relief pitching, like their bullpen is very solid too. And I think they're 4-run right now. I think that they're just gonna be sneaky good all year long, and I think the Braves are going to have a similar run to the 90s if they can get the pitching to go with the offense that they have. Led with Freddie Freeman, who still to me is probably in the top 5 of most underrated players in Major League Baseball in the last 10 years. Sure. I think everybody just kind of forgets about him a little bit because they were so bad early on. I think he's going to get his due. But do you guys think that with the season coming back, we're going to have an impact on card values? Because these guys are actually playing games now, because before all of their value was suspended because they couldn't have a good game. They couldn't have a bad game.
I mean, if I would have said, well, they can't go up any higher at this point. I mean, how much higher can they go is the thing. there's that, you're going to see, I think it's going to be more of the mid-tier guys that you'll see rise, guys like Kyle Lewis, who got hot in the beginning. I think you're going to see a few of these guys who, like you said, snuck under the radar. They're going to really start shining, is the main thing for that.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I think, but I think we will see some guys that might have been. I think the sneaky stuff is all the minor league guys that aren't playing this year. They're going to get hidden behind Dominguez and even I think Franco Wander Franco. After all, everybody who talked about him last year, he's been kind of not as talked about because we've moved on. His first Bowman's gone now, and we're all about Dominguez and Witt and Paulson and all these other guys. But there's some sneaky other guys to look at that are going to play this year and they're not going to put up stats, and you might be able to sneak and grab some of their cards for pretty cheap. So it'll be interesting to see. On top of that, 2020 rookie debuts. So at Trader Cracks, Ryan Cracknell put up the call-up designation is out for 2020 debuts who didn't get early cards. If this sticks to history, this suggests no new players getting rookie cards in late season products and being held for 2021. This came up because of a Topps Now discussion of the William Contreras and Brady Singer Topps Now cards from once a Cub put them up with the call-up designation. So Singer and Contreras both had Topps Now cards, and they didn't have any cards before this, and so both of their cards have call-up listed on it versus a rookie card logo. So I have a feeling that they might be in updates, but most likely they'll probably get pushed to Series 1. We will see, because usually that deadline, Topps had a deadline set with Major League Baseball. We heard this at the National last year, why Jordan was a Series 1 rookie, not an update, because he debuted too late. Well, the season's kind of getting to that spot already, and so we, even though it just started, these guys might be pushed to Series 1. So what does that do for update? We don't know. We will see, but just to give you an update of what's going on there.
I don't think it's addressed here on the show, but I wanted to bring it up. So Suze and Cracknell had brought up a good point. With Heritage getting its preview earlier today, we haven't seen 2021 Topps design.
Yes.
We usually see it about August, right?
Usually it's out before the National.
Yeah. By the way, Yordan Alvarez debuted June 9th of last year, and he did not make the cut for updates, and we're July 29th.
So real quick, because you also don't have an All-Star game either, which is also update heavy. But here's the bottom line: Series 2 was a crap show. We all know that. You had Robert in there, Robert in there, and that was really it. You were going for that, and maybe whatever hits were on there, but there was really no chase rookies. And there probably are going to be a couple of people on that checklist that surprise us in a year or two. But guess what? It's still sold, and it was selling above. I mean, let's call it, quote unquote, stupid pricing, right? It was well above what it should have been for the product, but it was still a flagship release. And so is Update. It doesn't matter what's in there. There's no Update card or All-Star cards. There's no All-Star hits that are going to be featured in there. It doesn't matter. It's still going to sell because it's Update. And, there's going to be some players on that checklist, and people are going to chase it because it's flagship. And guess what? It's what's out this week, and that's just the way this hobby works.
I'm going to be honest. I'll be opening it just because, I get a flagship problem. That's the one product I open all the time. I chase singles and everything else outside of that because it's who I am. I'm a flagship guy, and I'll die on that hill by myself. But I know there's a bunch of other nerds with me, and
I'm there with you. Yeah, I also think that you're going to have people. I think all of us, as a hobby, not necessarily me personally or you personally, but I think all of us collectively are going to look at Update like, what if this product falls under the radar? What if there's some guys on that checklist that surprise us in a year or two? That we look back on. Trout wasn't a sought-after card in 2011, but by 2012 he was. By 2013, even more so, and so on and so forth. And I think collectively, well, hey, Yelich has outperformed him for the last 18 months, so let's move on to the next superstar. But just collectively, I think the hobby is going to look at Update and say, "What if?" And that's going to drive sales as well.
So let me ask this. would it be less offensive and less hideous a thought of us not getting an update this year if they were to have just named it Series 3?
I mean, isn't that what it is anyway?
In essence, it is. But I think a lot of people get hinged on that. It's the update. It's the rookie set. It's the one that you want. And sure, they probably print this. And yes, it does contain those rookies.
The rookies and update carry a little more value than those Series 1 and 2 do. And the reason being, it's not that they're better rookies, but there's no factory set that you can go out and buy and get those rookies guaranteed in there. Now, I like what Topps has done in the past few years where on the back of those cards, they put complete set versus Series 1 or 2. So you know that it was, picked out of a complete set versus it being a Series or 1 box pulled card. We'll see with update. All of us can speculate. I don't know what it's going to be. It could be a 132 card set instead of a 300 card set. Who knows? But we'll see.
So let me ask Steph a question real quick as a follow up to whether or not it's Series 3. Okay. I have the entire print run of A's team sets from 1952 Topps through current. Okay, that includes all the league leaders and multiplayer rookie cards that feature an A's but aren't solely an A's card. Okay. I include Topps Traded, all the stuff from the 80s in there. I also include Update. So when I say I have the entire run, it includes both Traded and Update as we currently know Update. Because I figure it's Series 3, right? It's part of an extension of the flagship. It's the third release of each calendar year. Is that right? Is that should that be included in that theoretically?
Well, I mean, that's kind of your decision to make as a collector, but I in essence, I agree. I feel that it's essentially a Series 3 in lieu of a year that they officially announced this as Series 3. It was, what, 72? 73? Somewhere in there?
74 and 76 both had Topps Traded sets.
Well, no, I know that much, but I mean, when was the last time they released an actual Series 3, Series 4, Series 5? Yeah. 72, 73, somewhere in there. So. In lieu of having those, I kind of combine, and as well, I combine traded updates, and highlight updates, whatever they're going to call it in the future, as one product line. Yeah, because in essence, that's what it is.
Yeah, it's just at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. You're buying it, you're collecting it, you're cataloging it, so on and so forth. But if we're just talking by like what would be popularly accepted if we all had to agree on this rule, just like, say, a rookie card, right? What is the true rookie card? Is it the first flagship release versus, say, like a first Bowman? If we all had to sit down and agree as a hobby, I personally think most people would say that Update is Series 3. It's the same design. It's looked at that way. Yeah, it's released a little different, not included in the the prepackaged factory set, but at the same time, it's an extension thereof. Therefore, if you are arguing semantics, at least in my opinion, if you're completing that flagship run, you have to have traded in there from the 80s. You have to have Update.
I would almost take the other approach.
73 that had the last series. I'd pulled it up, and I guess a Royals fan also has the answer there.
I would look at Update from a perspective of what's the numbering in the checklist. Is it continuing with the 693, 694? If it's continuing with the numbering, then I would say it's part of the series. If they're going with a different numbering scheme, then I would personally consider that a different set, like a subset of the Topps flagship.
You're updating. I mean, it's right there in the title, right?
Right.
You're updating.
It's to me, it's an extension of whatever the first two were.
Yeah, it's a traded set, right? Well, these guys are on new teams. You'll see that it's including the All-Stars, which obviously you can't have in Series 1 and Series 2 based on release date. So at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. You put it in your database the way I put it in mine could be completely different.
All we know is it's fun to open.
Yeah, and I don't think it's going to be any different this year than years past. I really don't.
Well, if if you guys were going to head down to the Beckett Grading Services office, FYI, Texas Car Dude let us know that they're going to temporarily close the Dallas location for drop-offs and pickups starting this Monday due to rising COVID-19 cases. The company says it's making an effort to protect its employees and customers, but the mail order submissions will not be affected, so you just can't go and drop them off in person.
And
now,
point brought up.
I haven't heard of that being affected whatsoever, though. The printing facilities.
Different company, so they'd have to announce it as well. But an interesting thought with everything going on.
Yeah, Texas and Florida, I mean, let's just cut them off the country.
The reason I haven't left the house.
Hey, well then talk to your friends and neighbors. Who is UAC1? Does anybody know who UAC1 is? Well, at Grant's Breaks asked, they decided, he goes, hey, so I decided to rip a jumbo box, and this is a jumbo box of 2020 Bowman. Saw the redemption. I was like, who the heck is this redemption? I look and I see, and I was fairly certain I was dreaming. It's been redeemed, and hopefully you'll see it soon in person. It's numbered to 10, and UAC 1 out of 2020 Bowman. It's an ultimate autograph book card. Here are the guys in the book. Bobby Witt Jr., AJ Puck, Sixto Sanchez, Alcides Aquino, Yordan Alvarez, Andrew Vaughn, Nico Horner, Bo Bichette, Brewstar Gratterall, C.J. Abrams, Riley Green, Royce Lewis, Julio Rodriguez, Jesus Lazardo, Gavin Lux, Mackenzie Gore, Joe Adell, Adley Rushman, Joey Bart, Dylan Carson, Brendan McKay, Jared Kalenic, Casey Mize, and Wander Franco.
Alrighty then.
Those are all autos?
It's all in one booklet. All those guys' autographs.
It'll be big. It'll be probably what, 5 or 6 pieces?
Probably.
I think
it'll look hideous, but it'll be worth what, $5,000, $7,000?
And all. The only guy it's missing is Jason Dominguez.
Yeah.
And I would replace 6 with Jason Dominguez, but hey, who's going to complain with that lineup of dudes?
It's interesting that there are quite a few pitchers in there.
Yeah. 1, 2.
It's kind of an interesting mix, just because it's a Bowman product, and we all know that Bowman pitchers don't necessarily age
7
well.
Pitchers. 7 pitchers, not too bad. A couple catchers.
A couple of major leaguers that are already,
rookies.
have some service time.
That's redonk, man. That's awesome.
I think that's when you just mic drop, and then you walk down to your local 7-Eleven, and you lay down your ATM, and you say, listen, I want all of the scratchers because I'm hot right now. And give me a taquito, and a Slurpee. Blue.
Well, the taquitos are 3 for $3. I'll give me 3 of them then, dang it.
Give me the Texas Tornadoes, too, and a slice of that DiGiorno that's probably about 8 days old.
Chicken wings. Oh, I go in there live the other day. I was like, man, like they have like a full-on restaurant going in here, and people like lining up. I'm like, am I missing something? Is like there's a Chevron. There's a Chevron in Stockton for anybody that's up here locally, right off of 8 Mile. And I swear to God, man, they've got the board going and everything, and they're telling you buy 2 chicken wings and you can get a Hot Pocket. The Hot Pockets are like $3 a piece. They're already pre-cooked, so it's not even like they can throw it in the microwave for 2 minutes. But people are lined up out the door. There was a Chevron, which is funny, in Roseville, and I had an office down the street, and I was new, and my buddy and I were asking the guys like, hey, what's a good spot that's close for lunch, because we only had half an hour at this place, and they said, man, Chevron's got the best bacon in town. And I was like, what? And they go, oh yeah, they have this BLT sandwich, man. It is to die for. So I was like, well, we're not doing that. But I went in there one day for gas, and I went by. Dude, people were lined up to get this bacon sandwich. And it was like this clear see-through bacon. And I'm like, bro, you're getting bacon at a gas station.
Dude, that's like getting sushi over at the Quick Stop, dude. Come on.
But anyway, Ryan Cracknell tweeted out, and this tweet did not get a lot of love. It had like 11 retweets and like 1 or 2 comments. Has anybody seen the 2020 Bowman Chrome Jason Dominguez Superfractor autograph? Last year, the Ohtani, man, I mean, everybody was talking about the Ohtani Superfractor left and right. Where is it? What's going on? And this year, everybody's just kind of like, okay, we're all excited about Dominguez and all that fun stuff, but his Superfractor is getting like, hey, where the hell is this card? My favorite comment was, hey, it's hanging out with Evan Longoria's Superfractor auto from Bowman, was it 06 or 08?
That would be brutal.
That card has never surfaced. No one's ever claimed to have it. No one's ever claimed to see it. Maybe maybe it went out the back door. Maybe it's in Clay's drawer. Who knows?
So question.
Hold the honest.
Jurors.
Question now. Let's hypothetically say that the Longoria legitimately came to market right now, because again, it's got a backstory to it, right? So that's going to add a percentage.
Okay.
Yeah. What does it sell for? Because you're going to get a lot of people that have money that I just want it because I don't even collect it and I don't really want it. I just want it because
I bet Olbermann goes after it. So it's 5 to 10K.
You figure somebody, just because it would be such a novel piece at this point. You're
Like
buying the novelty.
Jackson.
Yeah.
Because he owns the Reggie Jackson, the Orioles uniform, supposedly. So, yeah, 5-10K. I mean, right? I mean, there are no Rays fans that collect. And,
right.
You know, as a client, he's been disappointing. And we got him when he was old and broken. So, you know.
Well, yeah, because the hobby is basically it's a 7 to 10 day window, right? It's that whole, what have you done for me lately? Longoria's past his prime, and he's,
it's not even a what have you done for me lately. It's a what are you potentially going to do for me?
There's that too.
Joey Barr
outsells Posey by a multiplier of 12x plus. Come on, boys.
And he'd have to have the perfect career. Stop PW at Andrew L. Baker, and he is a big sports-like guy because he listed it in his Twitter bio here. But he says, anybody else considering shutting down PWEs until the USPS gets off their stuff straight? My feedback from PWE sales has gone ground to the virtual halt. I've had a noticeable increase of where's my card messages from buyers over the last couple of weeks. I don't like this. I sent some stuff out July 11th that just got delivered yesterday. PWE had a couple of customers complain. I said, hey, listen, if it doesn't come by today, being today, or tomorrow coming, which is today, let me know and we'll do a refund. And all of them showed up. I had a bubble mailer with tracking that I sent out July 9th to Clovis, California. Now, Clovis, from Sacramento to Clovis is maybe a 4-hour drive, maybe 5-hour drive. Yeah. It went to Texas, 2 different places in Texas. Made its way and got delivered Monday. That thing was traveling all over the world. I have a card that's being sent to me that came from the Midwest, has hit the East Coast in Florida, and now is headed back to me, I think. That I bought, I don't know, the first part of July. And we talked about this in the Postal Service screwing up and delaying stuff.
Yep.
Again, guys, this is what's happening. And now it's not happening all the time because I have people like, hey, man, I got the PW like 3 days after you sent it. Thank you.
Okay. I bought a Seth Brown Finest Flashbacks off of Sport Lots on Monday, and it showed up today. I bought something off PWE off of eBay on June 26th, I want to say. I got refunded for it about a week ago. It still hasn't arrived. The seller said he sent it out the following day. So you're at like 31, 32 days. It still might show up. But at this point, I mean, at work, I had one of our clients send us a check. And he called us about a week later and said, you guys haven't received my check. I mean, we're talking about Sacramento to Sacramento. I mean, his address is 8 minutes away. And the only reason he doesn't hand deliver it is because why convenience, right? I'm dropping it in the mail. And this was a month and a half ago. And he's like, when you get it, can you shred it? I'm going to put a stop payment on it, and I'll just pay via, the electronic way that we can accept payments. Still no check. I still have a note on my desk, and it's been 6 weeks now. If I get this, do not cash it. Call the guy, and it's like, how long do I wait before I just sign off like, hey, that check is never coming?
Well, yeah, and that's the thing too. I mean, I had three packages show up yesterday that were last scanned. Not even just moving around, last scanned on the 20th. 3 of them didn't even get scanned anywhere in the process. They just showed up in my house. They weren't even scanned as delivered in the system. Yeah. So there are delays and extensions. I mean, at work, we have a guy that's messaged us a few times because he requested a package that was mailed on June 30th, and the tracking was last updated on the 10th in Auburn, and it hasn't moved.
Well, no, and that's the thing is like my mail got dropped off today around 4:00, and then again at 6:00, some more mail got dropped off, and I'm like, okay, what the hell's okay, what's going on? And I went out and I asked the second guy that came, and he goes, oh yeah, he goes, we're delivering some of tomorrow's mail today, and we're all kind of messed up right now.
Now I did ask. Like I mentioned, I think on Saturday or maybe it was last Monday's show that I was going to ask my dad's friend, who's also a mailman, what's going on. And the way he explained it, at least for the Dallas region, is that one, all of the drivers don't get any overtime anymore. So what they would have used to deliver that time and get paid for, they're now returning and dropping off their car and attempting to deliver what they can the next day. And two, they're cutting hours in addition to that.
Yeah.
So expect longer delay times. And I would say, normally I would say, make sure you get tracking if we're seeing these delays, but they're not scanning them. So
yeah, no, we have a really big hub in West Sacramento, which is about 15, 20 minutes away from probably Tim's house and half hour away from mine. And a lot of my stuff ends up going through there before it comes to my city. And if it shows up there today at 2:00, it'll be in my city by 4 a.m. It'll be on the truck today. So I know if it gets scanned in at West Sacramento today, it's showing up tomorrow. And I can't tell you how many bubble mailers with tracking I've had where there's a 3 or 4 day delay. It's literally 30 minutes from my house, should show up tomorrow, and it shows up 3 or 4 business days later. And I think that's just a microcosm of what we're seeing as a whole for a number of variables. And our buddy Andrew is a good friend. And the other Andrew, the one that posted this tweet, just so there's no confusion. But I think he's right. At what point do we, as a hobby, you can't because you're going to crash your sales if you do away with PWEs.
Well, and you can't send a dollar card with $4 shipping. I mean, most people are going to pull that trigger. It's just frustrating because I don't know.
I can't tell you how many times I right click on a listing and open up a new tab at a 99-cent auction, or even a buy it now, and I see $4.20 shipping. I'm like, I'm after tax and everything, I'm not paying $6 for a Panini Prism. Come on, dude. It's like,
well,
it's not gonna
have
happen.
you seen any of this on shipments going out, Andrew?
I've noticed. I mean, it's always been like that when because I drop off like 30, 40 packages at once and you track them, and you'll get some where all of a sudden the package that's going to Pennsylvania will get there before the one that's going to Las Vegas. And I'm here in Southern California, so it is weird like that. I have noticed since COVID happened, it's been getting more extreme in that you will get these wide swings where still some of these East Coast ones will get there. I try and drop everything off on Saturday. Some East Coast ones will get there by Monday, and I got ones going to Sacramento and they don't show up till Wednesday. And it's like, I can't figure. I know some of these things are on planes, so they get there fast. But to me, it's like certain routes have been delayed more than others. During the winter, it is completely different because you have all these weather delays. That's a completely separate issue that I think most people who are living in that area understand. But there's always been that swings. It has been getting more extreme, I would say.
Yeah. Well, Brent Williams even said he's getting hammered by eBay because the expected delivery time, even with a tracked package, is not being met. So eBay is blaming the seller, not the shipper. I don't see how in the hell that's fair, because once the card leaves the seller's hands, and if it's dropped off and scanned in the appropriate time, how is it the seller's fault versus it being the shipper's fault? We can't make them ship faster.
Right. No, and these delays are completely arbitrary. I think we can all agree on that. We've seen stories this way and that way. But that's a whole other scenario. Yeah, where Amazon is killing the USPS because of their guaranteed delivery times, and I'm a Prime member, so I get it today or next day delivery. But yeah, you're right. If Brent drops it off today, if Andrew night and drops it off at the post office tomorrow, seriously, it shouldn't take more than 2 business days for it to get up to Tim or I, because we're only 7-8 hours away. within the
sounds like
same state.
They need Tom Hanks from Castaway to get in there and teach
Yeah,
him the time.
Right.
That guy knows how to get something to somebody, regardless if it takes a day or 4 years.
Yeah. So it's terrible. Real quick update on the $1 million case, the 86-87 Fleer case. I know Andrew was bidding on this big time. It opened on Monday the 13th at $250,000, and it closes on Thursday the 6th. And the last time I looked, it was still 11 bids at $1.28 million.
Yes,
so
that's my bid.
There you go, and you're sending everybody in a box, right?
I think he's going to give me. He's going to give me all the ace cards out of it, even if it's basketball.
And you get a box, and I get divorced because I gave away $1.2 million. I'm just excited to see where that lands. I mean, those are boxes where vendors where Fleer was accepting boxes back from wholesalers and dealers and giving them a $6 credit to take those boxes back because no one could sell them.
So, interjecting and breaking up the show notes here.
Of course.
And speaking of Amazon, I may have found there's a few sellers who sell the Topps retail team sets back years. Like, for example, the guy was selling the 07, 08, 09, 010, and 2011 team sets, indeed. And all bundled together for $16. So if you are missing a few factory retail team sets, might want to do a search on Amazon.
Yeah. I appreciate you sending me that link, and I think the Royals were like 36 and they were like 10. So I'm been waiting on that one. So very, very nice enough. Steph, if you want to drop that link into the chat, I think a lot of people might want to check it out. More Project 2020 issues. Last week was the first week in a while we've not talked about 2020 issues, but here we go. At Gnarly Core, this just randomly came in the mail. I didn't order it. The one I ordered came a while ago, so now I have two. I don't particular need, even though it looks nice. And it was the Old Man Allen Ted Williams card that pops up here on the screen. He got a second one up, so he got that one for free. I think he sold it for $10. And then at Cody19's added in. I had next to Brett, card number 75, show about a week after the first one. I didn't know if it's because I emailed him about why it was still processing while the card had shipped, or if this is a thing that's just happening. And then on top of that, I think someone else tweeted out earlier that they received a couple of cards that they never even purchased. The top sent them. They hadn't purchased those 2020 cards. Our buddy Blake Jameson came out and said he had a good conversation with Topps on an update on the shipping and what's going on there. He said, hey, guys, happy hump day. I posted this same thing on Blowout, but I figured I'd share it here too. Just had a good conversation with Topps and wanted to update you on what I learned. I'm in the same boat as many of you, frustrated by shipping delays and the impact it's having on the project momentum. For me, it's directly affecting my business and brand because if less people buy the cards, my art gets into less homes. Topps is printed through card 151. The bottleneck is cases. They've ordered 500,000 cases arriving next week. These are the magnetic one touches, not snap cases, as we've seen in the past. The other, they have another 500,000 cases coming in the third week of August. As of now, they are telling me they will be caught up on shipping by the end of August. They are currently shipping through card 98. My trout is on deck, and once they get past it, the others should catch up faster because of lower print runs. So card 98, and what card did drop today, guys? Do you know?
I think it was 180.
180. So they're 100, 90 cards behind. That's a lot of cards.
That's 2 months.
Yeah. And here we go. Kevin Jones. The same thing happened with me with Goski Brett. Yeah. I don't like. I understand that. I think the Griffey Shorg 98,000 million cards that it sold. By the way, I saw at the LCS today. He had a stack of 10 of them for $10 each, and the Ryan that came out that time. But
so if you complain to Topps and say, hey, I didn't get my so-and-so player, and they send you another one Are they shorting somebody else's, or are they printing another one? Because if there's a 2000 print order, and then what happens if one gets? Okay, math. My dad's sitting on the couch last night, right? And he's like, I think we were talking about Star Wars Living, and he goes, this one sold 4,100, but how do we know there's 4,100? And I'm like, well, of course we don't know how many there are, but when you start seeing all these kind of customer service issues, we were talking about Andrew had pulled a Nico Horner from Archive Signature, and it was the same picture, same serial number as another one. So if there were 73, I forget what their print run was out of. But if it's 99. Number 58 out of 99, so are you telling me there's no 57? Is there no 59? Is there only 98 of these? Is there 100 of these? It's like,
it's frustrating too, because Cheap Front Breaks Houdini said, man, if you he got kind of hot. He goes, hey, if you want to charge back because you didn't get the card I haven't gotten from Topps, and you can't understand what's going on there, then that's fine, but I'm going to block you and then let everybody else know not to sell to you too. I get, I understand the frustration. But think of just buying directly from the company as well. I look all the time, and I have Bretts that I ordered. The last Brett I had was card 75. I think I'm short 3 or 4 more Bretts that I've ordered that aren't even close to getting shipped out.
I've bought all of mine from Twins Jake, and we're buying Henderson and McGuire in this house, and we are 12 or 13 deep now because he hasn't shipped any since 60, and he's like, I'll sell you, or I'll ship you everything I have in hand. And that's 2 McGuires and 1 Henderson, which ranges from card 60 to 80. I tell my dad that tonight. He's like, what about the other 9? And I'm like, he doesn't have them.
It's ridiculous.
Are we talking about finest flashbacks, by the way, coming up?
No, but holy moly, my favorite product of all time.
Okay, so it's a pre-sale for Montgomery Club, right? If you paid for a membership, you paid for a membership to have the right to buy this stuff early, whether it's Sapphire or in this case flashbacks. Okay, they sold to all of their members, and they had stuff left over. And then people like Tim and other people who are not current members got an auction to be able to buy 2. Tim not only got 2 and bought 2, they were shipped to his house, delivered. He flipped them to somebody else. They were en route to the other person, and then at least 2 people that we know of that were Montgomery Club members were told their orders got canceled, that the Topps cannot fulfill them. And it's like, whoa. You're telling me that I'm a member, hypothetically, I'm a member, and my order is getting canceled. One of them's like, Topps is like, sorry, we can't give you the 3 that you ordered, but we can sell you 2. But and there were a lot of people in Tim's shoes that were non-members that won this auction to be able to have it shipped. Yeah, and then that's the other thing.
That's my thing. If I was a dirty person, I could call Topps and be like, hey, do you wear my 2 boxes?
Yeah, that's the other thing. It's like, we got 2 people that we know of that tweeted out. I'm sure there's plenty of other Montgomery Club members that were told, we can't give you what you have. Wait a minute, what about the other dozens and dozens and dozens of people that aren't members that got theirs? Are you kidding me right now? That's ridiculous, man.
By the way, these are not my... Oh, go ahead.
You want to talk? You need to open those up, man, to see if there's a Robert Pawson in there for me.
I don't care to throw a knife at them just to see it rip open.
These are not my boxes. I have them for a friend, but if anybody's interested, I have these 2 boxes here.
I know who they belong to, and I think he would be okay with you opening those. You can always reseal it, put the packs back together, reseal it with some shrink wrap. If there's not a Pawson. No. But come on, man. Are we serious about the Montgomery Club? I mean, does this really encourage you when they say, hey, you need to renew it, whatever the cost is going to be this year?
How much is that Montgomery Club Luis Robert rookie card going to be out worth? How many billions of dollars is that going to run everybody? Just a thought. You can't collect it all. This is just a thought, and I just want to put it out there. And Andrew said this earlier, but this came from one of the smartest side guys I know in the hobby, one of the kindest guys, people in the hobby. Those back pages on Twitter. Eric, and it says Biggie, and he says, you know what is very difficult for collectors to accept, and this includes all collectors. We are simply not able to have everything we would like to. It just isn't possible for a variety of reasons. So, you know, he's the guy that said a long time ago, sell 10s, buy 9s, you know, and he always talking about PSA cards. And he also says it's not the grade of the card, but it's the card in the holder. So sometimes you can find a card that might look really good and the grade's not there. But so he's had some these nuggets of wisdom, and he's got an awesome YouTube page, so check it out. But this just kind of hit like we just can't get it all. We can't have we might want to, you know, but it's at the end of the day most likely not possible. So yeah, Bean sold his 3 to blow out for $9.75. That's pretty good. Come up, Bean, on you know, $165, $175, yeah. So, triple auto at Jaspy Breaks. What insane hit last night from at Top Sterling Baseball on card out of 5. Hank Aaron, Mike Trout, King Griffey Jr. Now Hank, his autograph seen better days. That's a pretty good recent Hank Aaron autograph. But the question came to me: if we could have a triple auto of somebody that played in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and then we could have somebody that played like in the 80s, 90s, 2000s. And then we could have somebody that's currently playing, and they all were alive because they could sign the card. All the rule staff. Who would be on your card? Now I put this on Twitter. There were a ton of good responses. Some people, you know, couldn't. Clemente got a vote, and you know, somebody picked a couple of guys that played in the '90s. But whatever. I mean, I think it's a good question. But it was time. It's like 3 generations, right? The oldest generation that's alive, the generation that was playing when we were kids, and today's generation. Andrew, who would be on your triple auto?
So I'm a Giants fan, obviously, and well, not obviously, but I am. And so my 3 picks were fairly obvious in that it was Willie Mays, Buster Posey, and then not Will Clark. I actually went with Barry Bonds simply for the fact that the guy doesn't sign. And so if you could get his autograph with Willie Mays, who is his godfather, to me, that is, you don't even need Posey. I would just take those 2, and that would be, and I would feel like that'd be a sick auto.
So you're saying my signed card from Penny Kings is amazing.
What was that?
So you're saying that the Barry Bonds signed card that I have from Penny Kings is to hold on to?
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
There was a theme with all of us. Steph, who'd be on your card?
I'm not changing too much from the card that was in the picture. Willie Mays, Ken Griffey Jr., and Mike Trout. All center field. All generational talent. I mean, who didn't put their hat on backwards like Griffey? Trout could use some marketing courses, but he's definitely the face of baseball for the last several years. And say hey.
Benjamin.
I went with Mays, McGuire, and Trout. I know it's a little bit of a homer. I think really, you know, with something where it's just one sport, you know, Mays, obviously Mantle can't be a part of it because, you know, he's passed away. But, you know, it's Mays or Aaron. Probably Griffey is the most commonly picked one for the middle era with Trout, you know, but you couldn't go wrong with Pujols or Ichiro or one of the other, you know, big Hall of Fame names. But can we talk about the fact that Stefan just did not get this right? He was picking all over the place. It's like he was like,
first of all, you guys didn't specify that you wanted one from each. So
he literally said somebody from the 50s and 60s, somebody from the 90s, and somebody from current. You're like, mine is Greg Maddux and Ken Griffey and Randy Johnson. And we're like, no, try again. And he's like, well, then I want Harmon Killebrew. We're like, he's got to be alive because he's like, well, then I don't even want to play.
No, I can't believe he didn't go Carew, Mauer, and Luis Ariz. But anyway.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to be super homer, but what was yours, Tim?
I went, now my first one was a hard pick, and because I was like, who do I really want to put there? I ended up putting Willie Mays because, again, Willie's up there. Willie's great. You think back, like, had he played in today's baseball, how many billions of dollars would his contract be worth? because of his longevity. He was good. He was good for a lot longer than some of these other guys that played. And, so Willie Mays, George Brett, and Buster Posey. Now, I could have gone with like a card that would make me, a billionaire, but I went with the Homer pick and Brett and Posey. Two of my, those are my two PC guys, and Mays just being an all-time great. So, but if any of these cards came my way, I wouldn't turn them down. So.
Oh yeah. Now there was an article done 3 or 4 years ago now on ESPN about what, Mantle, Mays, Ruth's contract would look like. This was, of course, before the Trout and Harper and Machado contracts. But I believe it was like Willie Mays would sign a 10-year, $450. I think they had Ruth at 10 years, $550. So it's not too far off from what we're currently seeing. But again, if you adjust for inflation, it would be considerably, at least a 5 to 10%.
He still got it wrong.
This guy
2 years ago, that would have been a great pick.
For the record, for the 8 years that this show has been on the air, dating back to when we used to do it by dial-up, Tim always tells me, "Stick to the rules, Ben. Stick to the rules." And for the record, for the lately, I have been sticking to the rules.
Have you?
Yeah, close enough. More than you, buddy.
I like this card. This card would be cool, and it could instead of being a, I know what kind of relic we could use there. We're going to talk about this last week. We just ran out of time with Chris, but the most valuable rookie card in every top set was a great article from 52 to 2020 put out by Ryan Cracknell. And he said the following list includes a year-by-year breakdown of the most valuable card for each flagship top set from 52 to 20. The only rookie card. The only cards with rookie tags in Beckett's database are included because Topps traded sets from 83 to 88 use the XRC tag. They are not listed. When distributions for those sets became wider in 89, they started receiving a rookie tag. So if you're wondering why the Bonds, Bo Jackson, Canseco, Will Clark, and a handful of others don't make the cut for 86, that's the reason. It's an interesting list. We went through and just wanted to ask everybody. So the three guys here, like Steph, real quick, we wanted to say, what is the best year for rookies and what's a terrible year for rookies? If you're looking at the complete set, where like over here, I have all my binders that I picked a card from the set and they're all like a key rookie in the set. And there are a few years where I couldn't pick a rookie because there was no key rookie in the regular flagship series 1 or 2 release. The good rookies were all an update or traded, or they just didn't exist because it was just a bad year. So, Steph, what is your bad year? What's the year you go and you go, man, there aren't any rookies I'm excited for?
Easily one of the worst years the Topps have put out. I went with 2002 in that really there's only Joe Mauer.
And that's it. And that tells you how bad that set is. Plus,
not
it's
even a Hall of Famer.
By the way, it is the color of a newborn baby's crap. That's the color that
I like it.
No, it's ugly as hell.
Don't say no. Don't say no. It's your opinion.
What's your favorite year?
55 for Sandy Koufax, Harmon Killebrew, Roberto Clemente,
as
well
as Roberto Clemente.
Hey, look, I'm
Stephen Loff,
as well as Don Mossy and Don Zimmer.
Yeah, Steph Loff. Benjamin, what's your bad year?
It's our birth year, 79. You had Ozzie Smith and then who? If you look up key cards of 79 Topps, you have Ozzie Smith, and then you have Brett and Schmidt and Ryan and Seaver, Dawson. None of those guys were rookies. Yeah. You have Ozzie Smith and then what? And Ozzie Smith was a defense only, no power hitting. Yeah, he was fantastic to watch, but when you look at the Hall of Fame list, he's one of the weaker inclusions. I mean, anyway, Ozzie Smith, 79 was a terrible year.
Like when I would flip it on the field.
Yeah.
Him, Sandberg, Boggs, and just making the All-Star team just because of an anyway, whatever.
Yeah.
What's your good year?
From us growing up in that same era, 83 always stood out because it's got Gwen, Boggs, and Sandberg. But then even some of the secondary guys like Viola and Gaetti, There was some other guys that had really strong careers, and then Topps Traded had Strawberry, and it even had like Julio Franco. So there was a lot of really good players that year. But for me, and 83 might not be the greatest ever, but to me it always stood out because everybody wanted a piece of 83, even 84 and 85 when Tim and I were young and, growing up in that 8 to 10-year-old range in the late 80s. So for me, 83 always stood out.
Yeah. My bad year was 1981. Because you had two
Is that
of
Gibson and Baines?
Yeah. And I think wasn't Reigns like in there too, or he was the traded set?
I think he was traded, I believe.
Yeah. I mean, Baines is one of the worst Hall of Famers.
Again, like 79, when you're...
It's not a good-looking set. There's, when Baines is the go-to card, like that's sad.
The best card in that entire set might be Ricky Henderson's second year, which is, what, a $2.50 card now?
I mean, the Ryan probably sells for $5 out of that, but God, it's his umpteenth card, right?
Yeah.
My favorite set, 75. Not only because the Brett card, plus the set is just like, it says 1970s on it. You have Yount, the 4-player rookie with Jim Rice. You have a 4-player rookie that has Gary Carter. And the other one that I liked in there has Keith Hernandez and Phil Gardner. Phil Gardner, not as, he was a great utility guy and player, but also manager. So those 4 rookies right there, pretty nice. So, Fernando.
Anytime you can get...
Fernando was good for like 3 years.
Yeah.
Reigns and Baines are so overrated. And Kirk Gibson, well, he did hit that awesome home run against the A's.
You know what? Screw you guys and your Cheerios today, dude. I am so... you guys...
I'm on the side of the A's on that one.
And once a Cub, and all you guys can just go to heck until tomorrow morning is a new day.
I had not moved to California yet, so I hadn't selected the Giants as my new home favorite team at that point. My second favorite team is my local team when I moved out here. But I hated the A's so much because in the late 80s, they even said this. I was watching the 89 LCS versus the Blue Jays and A's. There was a game on the MLB Network a few weeks ago saying that it was unfair that the Blue Jays had made the LCS because back then it was just the team who won the East and the West.
Right.
The Royals and the Angels that year both had a handful more wins than the Blue Jays did. The Royals finished second to the A's. I think they were 1 game back that year in 89. And they should have, you look back, they would have had a wild card. They would have been able to get in and play, or if there had been a third division, they would have won the Central. And that's why I hated the A's, and I'll always hate the A's because in the late 80s when they could have had a couple more chances in the playoffs, the stupid A's were there because they would go and lose. They'd win the ALCS, the ALCS and go lose in the World Series like, the A's do. Just can't come through. So,
So the Athletics 199, the Royals 192, the Angels 191, and the Blue Jays 189.
Yeah.
Was it 93 that the Braves and Giants had the 1 game playoff and 103
they
wins?
almost did. They almost did. The Giants lost the last day of the Dodgers.
Gotcha. Okay.
They would have had a 1-game game playoff in San Francisco, and I had tickets to that game because my friend Ryan Yost, his uncle is Ned, and Ned was the bullpen coach for the Braves and got us tickets to go down. But I was told not to wear any Giants gear. So, but that game never happened.
They won.
How the hell?
That year,
102,
right?
102 or 103. The Braves won 1 more, and they were in the West. So
yeah.
How the hell do you win 102 games? How the hell do you win 102 games and you play 67% baseball, and you don't get to make the playoffs? Not even an opportunity.
And then the next year you have the strike. So thanks, baseball.
What year was it that they changed the rule where you actually had the East and West versus where it was just like best record gets to go to the World Series and that was that? Because what a mess is that, man?
They switched the division.
61.
I mean,
69.
60.
They had expansion.
69 is the expanded playoffs.
Oh,
Okay.
Because Twins lost to the Orioles in 69 and 70.
think about that, man. You know, like the year was it 2001 that the Mariners won 116 games. You know, playing by those rules, you literally could win 115 games that year and not make the playoffs because there were no playoffs. It was just like, oh, hey, the Mariners won 116, you won 115. Thanks for playing, but this team goes to the World Series. And
well, first of all, the Mariners have never gone to the World Series. So
no, they haven't. They haven't. I'm just saying. You know, 116 games, you have this astronomical statistical anomaly of a season where the Mariners would get in if they were playing that same season, 50 years earlier. You could literally win at a 70% clip and be told to go home just like the Marlins go every year.
Well, guys, any final thoughts before we head out? It's been a hell of a show. Almost 2 hours.
Nope.
Andrew, where can we get? Again, let us know where we can find you, how we can buy a break from you, all that fun jazz.
So all my breaks are on eBay. You can check out my store, Bayside Breaks. Follow me Twitter, Facebook, Bayside Breakers, or just send me an email, baysidebreakers@gmail.com, especially if you have any Will Clarks you want to trade. I always do trades first because my philosophy is these are trading cards, not assets. And so I always want to do trades first, not opposed to anything else. You can send me emails, baysidebreakers@gmail.com. We can, you want to ask me any questions about breaking, how I got started, what my thoughts are. I'll give you honest feedback, and that's where you can find me.
Love it. Steph, Ben, anything before we head out?
No, we just want to thank Andrew for his time. He's become a really good friend of the show and us personally. And, we really appreciate his time this evening. And, Mark McGuire, man. Best first baseman.
I'll give you the 87 rookie. That's as far as I'll go with McGuire.
See, and this is why he got on. This and what he said about cards being not being assets.
And
what gets you on the show.
There is nothing that beats making a trade. Like when you can go and say, hey, I will give you this Will Clark for that George Brett. There's nothing more pure than that.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite. Trading is one of my favorite things to do, and I think it's really lost nowadays in the financial side of things. And don't get me wrong, like I sell cards like everybody else, but I sell cards that like I don't appreciate. And then if somebody else can buy them and appreciate them, I don't like it. Mostly it's inserts and numbered stuff. And I'm like, yeah, the cards I appreciate, like I appreciate rookie cards. Like I have stacks I still have to go through and organize of rookie cards that need to go into the collection. But anyway,
that's my philosophy, because at the end of the day, like with you guys, I know you guys will appreciate my A's, the Royals, and all the Twins cards that I have. For me, they're just sitting in a box. I would rather they go to someone who is going to enjoy them. Mm-hmm. And like I enjoy looking at every single one of my Will Clarks, and so, I'm more than happy to make trades for all of them.
I was cleaning up, putting stuff on Sport Lots, and I found these cards in the back. Nice. Haven't been pulled out. I don't know what I'm going to do with them yet.
It's me.
I'll take them.
So.
No, just real quick, Andrew and I were talking a while back, and he had pulled a McGuire 8x10, and he's like, I don't need this ruining my collection, right? Sarcastically. And I'm like, hey, send it to me and let it ruin my collection. And again, that finding the right home is really what's super important about this. I think we can all agree on that.
Yep. Well, guys, remember we're live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on YouTube. Check out the Hobby Hotline on Saturdays and Monday nights. Make sure you subscribe and review our show on all platforms. Follow us on Twitter about the cards. Follow Ben at our trading cards. Follow Steph at Quacks Twins. Follow Andrew at Bayside Breakers. You can always follow me at Big Shep 79. Please share your hobby stories, great pulls. Send your questions our way, and we'll see you all next week.